Welcome to Sissygram Lesbian Stories. Step into the world of lesbian romance and queer love, where we unpack the most exciting moments and delve into intricate lesbian relationships. If you like my voice, then hit the like button and subscribe our channel for daily videos. Now, let's start the story. I've always considered my life to be pretty straightforward. My name is Alina, and I've been married to Alex for 5 years now. Together, we've built what I thought was a perfect life in our cozy suburban home. Alex, with his easy smile and job as a software engineer, had always been my rock. We had a golden retriever named Maxim, and our days were filled with routine and comfort. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. Our neighbor Maya moved in about a year ago. She's an artist, vibrant and full of life, with an infectious laugh that could light up any room. She and Alex hit it off right away, bonding over their shared love for jazz music. I admired her from a distance, appreciating her free spirit, but never imagining she would play such a pivotal role in my life. One evening, as the sun set, casting a golden glow over our neighborhood, Maya invited me over for a glass of wines. It was supposed to be a casual neighborly get-together. The air was warm, and the scent of blooming flowers filled the garden as I walked over to her house. Maya greeted me with that radiant smile of hers, her eyes sparkling with excitement. We settled into her cozy living room, the walls adorned with her vibrant paintings. Each one told a story of passion and creativity. The wine was deep red, matching the setting sun outside, and as we sipped, our conversation flowed effortlessly. We talked about everything: art, life, dreams, and even the mundane. Maya had a way of making every topic feel significant, and her enthusiasm was infectious. With each glass, the atmosphere grew more intimate, and I found myself laughing, sharing, and opening up in ways I hadn't expected. The evening deepened, and then, with a hint of vulnerability in her voice, Maya leaned in closer and asked, "Alina, have you ever thought about what you really want out of life?" Her gaze locked onto mine, her eyes filled with an intensity that made my heart skip a beat. The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. I felt a rush of excitement and fear. Maya's hand brushed mine, a touch that felt electric, sending a shiver down my spine. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about myself started to unravel. I was sitting in this beautiful room with this captivating woman, and suddenly everything I believed about my life and desires seemed so distant. Maya's presence seemed to pull me in, inviting me to explore parts of myself that I had never dared to acknowledge. I hesitated, my mind racing. The night wore on, and we continued to talk. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken possibilities. Maya's words felt like keys turning in locks, unlocking doors to rooms in my heart I had never entered. This wasn't just about a glass of wine or casual conversation. It was about discovering desires I had buried deep inside me. I was standing at a crossroads, and I felt the weight of it. The wine, the warmth, and Maya's touch blurred the lines between reality and something else, something new and unexpected. The more Maya shared, the more I realized how different her perspective was from my own. Her home was like a gallery, every corner filled with her passion and self-expression. Her art, her travels, and her philosophies on life all painted a vivid picture of who she was, a free spirit, unafraid of vulnerability or desire. I, on the other hand, had built walls around myself, keeping parts of me hidden even from myself. And now, Maya was guiding me toward the realization that perhaps I had been hiding for too long. At one point, she introduced me to a series of paintings she called the Unseen Desires. Each piece was a raw exploration of intimacy, emotion, and vulnerability. The images depicted women in various states of undress, each one exuding such intense emotion that I felt a flush of heat rise to my cheeks. Maya spoke of them with reverence, describing how they represented the freedom of embracing what we often hide from ourselves. Her words painted vivid pictures in my mind, stirring feelings I had never fully explored before. The night was drawing to a close, and the last of the wine had been consumed. Maya leaned in closer, her breath warm against my cheek. She whispered, "Alina, what if I told you that you could have everything you've ever wanted, but it might mean letting go of what you've always known?" Her words hung in the air, a challenge, an invitation. My heart raced. The question wasn't just about art or life, it was about me. It was about desires I had buried deep, about the possibility of a life where I wasn't just Alex's wife, but Alina, a woman with her own uncharted desires. The moment was electric. Maya's hand rested lightly on my arm, her touch like a promise. The air was thick with anticipation, like a revelation was imminent. And then, without warning, Maya kissed me. Her lips were soft at first, but the kiss deepened, and suddenly I was overwhelmed with a passion I had never experienced before. My mind screamed to pull away, but my body responded differently, leaning into her, my hands threading through her hair. The kiss broke, and we both pulled back, breathing heavily. There was silence in the room, only broken by the soft jazz music still playing in the background. Maya looked at me with a mixture of concern and desire. "I'm sorry if that was too much," she said softly, "but I had to know if you felt what I felt." I was in shock. Not just from the kiss, but from the realization that I had enjoyed it. My heart pounded, not just from the physical reaction, but from the understanding that my feelings weren't as simple as I had believed. The air between us was charged. What did this mean for us? For my marriage? My whole life had suddenly been thrown into question. "I don't know what to say," I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of it all. "It's okay, Alina," Maya said gently, her hand still resting on my arm. "You don't have to say anything right now. Just know that what you felt, what we both felt, it's real, and it's okay to explore it, to question it, to wonder." I stood up, my legs shaky, and made my way to the door. Maya followed silently, her presence a reminder of everything that had just unfolded. "I need time," I said, turning to face her one last time. "I need to think about all of this." "Of course," she replied softly, her voice filled with understanding. "Take all the time you need." I stepped outside into the cool night air. The contrast from the warmth of Maya's home was stark. The streetlights cast long shadows, and the quiet of the neighborhood amplified the chaos in my mind. Every step toward my house felt like a step toward a confrontation. Not just with Alex, but with myself. The house was dark when I entered. Maxim's tail thumped on the floor in greeting, but my mind was elsewhere. Alex was asleep, breathing steadily, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. I stood at the foot of our bed, watching him, feeling the weight of our shared life, the comfort of routine, and now, the unsettling allure of something new, something forbidden. I knew I couldn't keep this from him. The kiss, the feelings, the questions. I couldn't ignore what had happened. But how could I even begin to unravel the life we had built? How could I confront this new part of myself without destroying everything we had? I lay beside Alex, careful not to wake him, but the reality of the evening replayed in my mind. The kiss with Maya, the spark I felt, the questions it raised about my identity, my marriage, and my future. Everything was changing, but I couldn't find the words to explain it. The night stretched on, filled with restless thoughts and the quiet ticking of the clock. As dawn broke, casting a soft light through the curtains, I realized this was just the beginning. The kiss with Maya was not a fleeting moment. It was a catalyst for a transformation I had never anticipated. The next morning, everything felt different. Alex was making coffee, following his usual routine, but everything seemed off. I sat at the Kit Maya table, my mind replaying the night before. I knew I had to tell him, but the words stuck in my throat like a lump of lead. Finally, I managed to speak. Alex, we need to talk, I said, my voice trembling. His face softened with concern as he looked up from the coffee maker. What's wrong? He asked. I took a deep breath. Last night, I went over to Maya's for a glass of wine. We talked, and things happened. Alex's brow furrowed. What kind of things? I swallowed hard. We kissed, and I felt something. I'm confused about my feelings. His face shifted from confusion to hurt, then to anger. You kissed another woman, and now you're questioning your sexuality. His voice was loud, filled with disbelief and pain. After all these years, you decide to explore this now, with our neighbor? I didn't expect this to happen, Alex. It felt right in the moment, I said, my voice breaking. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm just as shocked as you are. Alex's eyes filled with pain as he took a step back. What does this mean for us, Alina? No, Alex, I said quickly, but he stepped back further, his face tight with emotion. I don't know what this means yet. I need time to figure it out. I need to understand myself. The silence between us was deafening. Alex's gaze was distant, his thoughts miles away. I need some space, he said, his voice low and defeated. I can't process this right now. I nodded, tears filling my eyes. I understand. Take all the time you need. He grabbed his keys and left the house without another word. The door closed behind him with a finality that echoed through the empty rooms. I sat at the Kitmaya table, alone with my thoughts. Maxim, sensing the tension, came over and laid his head on my lap. His presence was comforting, but my mind was a storm of confusion. The reality of what had just happened weighed heavily on me. What it meant for my marriage, my life, my future. What had I done? What did this mean for me? The silence in the house grew thick, mirroring the uncertainty inside me. Each moment felt like I was standing on the edge of something new, something terrifying, and something real. The kiss with Maya hadn't just been a moment of passion. It had been a revelation. In the days that followed, the silence between Alex and me grew unbearable. The house, once filled with laughter and the soft hum of our daily routine, now felt cold and empty. Maxim seemed to understand, his playful demeanor replaced with a quiet concern. I reached out to Maya, not for comfort, but for clarity. Our conversation was long, filled with pauses and the weight of unspoken thoughts. Maya shared her own journey of self-discovery and acceptance of her sexuality, and in her words, I found a reflection of my own confusion. A few days later, Alex and I sat down to talk. The conversation was tearful, filled with sorrow, pain, and the realization that the life we had built together might be coming to an end. Alex suggested selling the house. It's our dream, but maybe it's time to let go of it, he said. I nodded, the finality of his words sinking in. The house was no longer a symbol of our shared future. It was a reminder of what was slipping away. Packing up our belongings felt like closing a chapter, but also making space for something new. Each item I touched reminded me of the life we had shared. As I sealed the last box, I stood in the now empty living room. The echo of my footsteps was the only sound. The house had been our dream, but now it was a symbol of what had changed. I was stepping into the unknown, but for the first time, I was doing it as myself, not as someone's wife. The house was no longer just a structure. It was a symbol of my journey, of letting go and moving forward. And as I left, the door closing behind me felt like a whisper of encouragement, pushing me toward a future where I could explore, question, and ultimately find myself. This is where the story ends. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe Sissygram Lesbian Stories and like the video. Also share your experience to motivate others and learn from your experience. We have spent hours to make such content for you. Kindly share with your social media groups to reach more. Thank you. I will see you with next story on this channel. Stay tuned.